to Leap Taken. Here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things witchy, craft-related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. So, I'm doing this video because I am fully into the holiday mood. I am totally into the season. I have had a lot of difficult situations occur coming into this season. A lot of practitioners, a lot of spiritualists speak of coming into the month of December, this particular season, approaching late fall, going soon into winter as a very dark period. Seasonally speaking, weather-wise, it's darker. It gets darker earlier, right? And darker for longer. The reason the lights are necessary for me in my world anyway, I like to put the Christmas lights up and have illumination, is because things feel so dark. So I just want to give a shout out to myself for putting up my decorations earlier this year, because I just want to share a little bit with you, and then sort of a little bit of the sour and then the sweet, so to speak, with this video. So, all right, so I kind of went through a really dark time recently, very recently. I have not actually been clinically diagnosed, so I'm not going to claim any specific diagnosis, but it felt very akin to depression. And in a way where it was different than anything I've ever experienced, because I didn't know how to make it stop. So I have, because I'm a very empathetic person, intentionally so, as part of the work that I do, and because I just, I kind of care about people. So when people I've been close to, who I know have experienced, talked to therapists, actually seen a doctor, depressed people, have said they're aware life is passing them by, and they're not active and participating, or they're functional enough to go to work and do things, but they're not okay. Like they're walking around feeling numb. Like there's no stimuli. There's nothing to get them out of it. There's no good conversation. There's no maybe obviously medication, right? But that comes with its own set of issues for some people. And that takes time. It's not overnight, by the way. If you are, if you get it, you get it. Just because you go to a doctor, you get a prescription, you don't feel better the next day per se. That has to build up in your system. So you have to ride that out. By the way, you're still you. You're still going through the crap that you're going through that makes you feel numb, a little bit hollow, and just empty. That's the way just like emptiness. So I believe my situation was brought on. It wasn't any traumatic event or something or some experience. It was actually chemicals, hormonal. So I've already addressed that. So I'm on the mend, very gratefully so. However, where I was very real, and instinctively I wanted to isolate. I didn't want to really talk too much. So this was happening, and I just didn't want to talk about it really, because I didn't fully comprehend. And if you've never really been in this space before, it's really hard to explain to someone. And the people I've talked to, I know they really haven't. You can have a lot of bad days, but this was something different, because this felt bigger than myself, see? And it felt so much bigger. I was afraid I couldn't control it or make it stop. Control. I was afraid I couldn't control it, right? So I'm real, I'm kind of a little type A. I feel like I'm a natural leader. I like to keep my hands on things and move the pieces myself. So I like to, run stuff basically. So someone like myself, saying, if I'm admitting this is really where I was, where I felt like I'm not controlling me. Like I would like to continue to do things I've been doing that make me feel good. But this new version of self was like, or we could just lay here and not do anything. the whole day. And meaning not rest and relax. No, like, we don't do anything. We doom scroll. We cry. Then we don't have any more tears, even though we feel like we should be crying. We don't find pleasure in anything. Nothing really feels, whatever you thought was exciting, nope, none of that works. Or mildly pleasant, nope. Like, you are aware rationally it should be pleasant, and you kind of think it is, but you don't really feel it. It's this permanent numbness. So that's all the sour as far as I go. So I kind of went through this phase, and let me tell you something. The lights in the house helped for things to not go so bleak and so dark. Literally speaking, and not so literally speaking, but yeah, seeing my beautiful Christmas tree, the lights around me, the coziness that I decorated everything, helped. Another thing that helped, the literal nourishment of my body. I went and I purchased, I forced myself on a moment, because it's never a day, within a day, during a period of time, I sort of boosted myself to go. And I made it out, you know. I went out to the store and I purchased food that I know would be good for me, but also tastes really good. And I didn't really care how much anything cost, and I just purchased food. So, and it's not like I didn't have food before, it's just that I did need to go shopping. That was also a problem, because well, that's the thing, I hadn't done anything. So I was like eating nuts. I don't know, it was a thing. Anyway, so the point is, I actually purchased food for myself, prepared the food, even though that wasn't something I felt like doing. But I went on just like, I don't know, I just didn't think, as much as there's like, sit down, lay down, you don't want to do this. I was just like, or I just moved. I didn't think, like, those thoughts were still happening as I continued to chop, put things in pans, boil, do this. Like, I was like a robot, basically, a shell of myself. But I needed to just do that, go on autopilot and prepare this food, because when I sat down to eat, and, you know, there's something to be said for the senses. Don't underestimate simple things like that. So I'm sitting at my dining room table, there's the lights all around me, and the food, and I got a good glass of wine. I've laid off of wine for some time because I was having some really negative reactions to it, but I decided to go with a white wine, and I did. It was good Chardonnay, buttery, rich Chardonnay. It was quite tasty. Anyway, so I had that with the food, and I felt good. Then the next thing I did was, when the opportunity arose, I met with my cousin, because I actually didn't meet with my cousin because I didn't feel well. But I didn't know this was a larger part of what was happening. But anyway, at the time, so I met with them, and that was the best thing I did, because we cackled, and I needed to cackle. And I needed to talk to people who get it, not just the mundane situation, but, you know, spiritually speaking, you need people, but you need people who get you. Here's the thing. When I mean people who get you, I don't mean people who know every detail and can be ahead of you, like, oh, they know your favorite coffee drink and they order it for you, or people who are spoiling. No, get yourself a boyfriend. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who literally get you, meaning when you're talking, they're already like, you know what, I understand. And they can explain specifically, and they're not hijacking the conversation, but they're like, hey, is it like this? Because when I went through this, or as I'm going through this myself, have you experienced? And I'm like, yeah. And then we're all, and imagine a group of women being able to do that. And even if they haven't personally gone through it, they've witnessed it and they're fully aware. So I don't have to do a lot of backpedaling and explaining with the spiritual and the mundane and putting that together and what that means. They get it. And also they can give me true guidance from an experience point of view, and then you know, the spiritual experience and the spiritual experience and the spiritual and the mundane, the mental health capacity. They can come in with that, And I know these people because I get them and I trust them. So I can take that information and do in different opinions, but not in a way, very nurturing opinions. Um, I needed that as well, and that also helped to help get through this period of time. And what I'm about to show next also is something, this is in real time I'm doing this because I am now feeling more confident in myself to put the type of energy, to pull up this type of energy and put it into this candle. So I'm calling it the Peace Candle, and I'm planning to burn it off and on throughout this month. Or up into Yule. It should be done by then at the rate I'll be lighting and relighting it. So, but basically it's just a simple white candle, and I'm gonna dress it with some herbs and oils, and I'll just show you how I cleanse a 7-day glass candle, and yeah. So that's what I'm going to share, and that's something I'm actually looking forward to. So just peace of mind, spirit, emotionally speaking, just across the board, just peace, and then peace that spreads throughout the household. So I want to infuse that energy, so as I burn it, that's what's being expelled into the atmosphere, into the ethers, if you will, and it reverberates and comes and it just encapsulates the household, and including myself and anyone else who's in it. So that's the energy that I'm going to put into this candle. So keep watching, and you'll watch how I do that. So we begin with a simple white candle. I chose white because it's a sign of peace. White candle is an all-purpose candle when you're working with candle magic, or even color magic for that matter. So I chose white for that reason. Now, blue would have been another choice. I didn't have a large blue candle, so all-purpose white. So that's why I chose it. And I actually think it fits the season as well. It makes you think of snow, it makes you think of light, so that was my choice. So I'm gathering all of my supplies here. So I have my rosemary oil, peppermint essential oil, that's rosemary essential oil as well, and also an oil love drops that I purchased from metaphysical store here in the Arizona Phoenix area. So yeah, and I have some herbs and flowers as well, and I'll get more into that in just a second. I think it's important to start off with a mundanely physically cleaned candle. So I actually washed the candle. I used dish soap and any sticky residue left over from peeling off the label. That is now completely off the candle. I'll be honest, I didn't always used to do that, but I feel it's important. It's just one more way of sort of stripping down anything that might have been holding energy. So that's what, I think it's important to do that. So what I'm doing now, I punctured holes through the candle, and I'm lighting my incense so that we can go ahead and cleanse this. I'm using amber incense blend here with the incense stick. And I chose to use this particular scent because I believe it's very cleansing. I think it's perfect for this time of year to use amber for the purpose of this candle. And I believe it has a cleansing properties. So that's why I choose to use this for the purpose of cleansing, smoke cleanse of the candle. So this is just one more step to remove any, residual energy, good, bad, indifferent, from the jar itself, from the object, the candle, everything. So that's why I do the smoke cleanse. And it's just that extra little step, but I think it's important. I purchased this, I'm pretty sure I got this actually from a Dollar Tree. And, there's a lot of foot traffic. There's a lot of energy in the Dollar Tree. And you hear people talk about lack and things like that. And, well, we'll just say broke energy, in a place like that, let's just be honest, can kind of bring about that. So if you're, but regardless of where you purchase your items from, I'll just say that you should do a thorough cleansing. However, with that in mind, yeah, I'm going to cleanse. I'm going to make sure I'm getting off that residual energy. This is how I like, especially if I'm doing a lot more oil than I normally would. I like to make sure it's spread across the surface of the candle and gets into the little holes as well. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Just adding each of the essential oils. Um, how do I know how much oil to add? Experience. That's a dropper, so I'm not like consistently pouring. Let's just be clear. But I tend to just know. I let my instinct guide me. That's how I know. There's sometimes it might be a specific number I'm working with. Maybe it's 3, maybe it's 7 or 12. So I'll do 12 drops and so forth. But like I said, I let my instincts guide me with that, my intuition, if you will. And I'm just making the holes a little bit bigger, so that oil can soak through, because we don't want to start a fire. We want a flame, not a fire. So yeah, it's important to, these are the practical matters of candle magic. If you're adding oil, you want that oil to penetrate through the candle. Just another little note here. So once it kind of gets burned down a quarter of the ways, I'll put new holes in and add more oil to keep that going. So it's just a little refresher. And again, I just know when to do it. I don't know how many days or hours it takes. I just know. But you can tell as well. And there's a scent that will come from these oils. So that's the other part of it as well. So if you're not smelling it anymore, that might be why. So I'm adding some red rose petals. Again, just some of that love energy. And in this case, it's self-love. I want to make sure I'm bringing in a little bit of the passion that red roses bring. A little bit of the love that comes with it as well, that is symbolically linked to. So, that's part of peace, having self-love and having love for others, especially during this time when things might seem its darkest. I chose raspberry leaf because that raspberry leaf is basically tied to women's reproductive health, and my issues are definitely tied to my reproductive health. So that, it's a hormonal thing. It's a balance of that energy. So I wanted to make sure I included raspberry leaf for that purpose, as well as the sweet myrrh as well, which is fitting for this time. Sweet myrrh in general, frankincense and myrrh, you're probably accustomed to those scents being together. But yeah, that's perfect for this time. Of course, Christianity has sort of focused a lot of that. You heard when, Jesus was born in the manger, and the 3 wise men brought the frankincense and myrrh. Remember that? Anyway, so there's magic to be, there's magical components and things like that. So we can go with that, okay? Although this has nothing to do with Jesus, the manger, the 3 wise men, or Christianity that I'm using it. Okay, and there you have it, my peace candle. So this is very real to me, very much magic, very important So just the way it ignited the fire because of all the oil and the different flowers and herbs that I put inside of the candle, it sort of the fire touched all of that, which I considered a very good sign. Obviously, that's just how it's going to work because it's oil and herbs and they burn. But it was the way it went about it, sort of like kind of encircled around the fire, the flame, and then it just stayed solid in the middle. So to me, I took that as a sign of, okay, all the facets that are in this jar, in this candle, are all being touched, all being ignited. Basically, the organic matter, the metaphysical matter of everything I put inside of the candle jar is now being activated with the flame of the candle. And there's a couple things happening with this candle. I chose, again, a white candle because most people consider all-purpose, but also white, this plain white candle can be a sign of peace. White, the color specifically, can be, something considered peaceful. I chose the herbs that I chose, obviously, for, their different metaphysical properties, and the oils as well. But the illumination of the candle and of the white, the way it looks, that's adding more of just that light in a time of darkness. So there's a little bit more meaning behind just my peace candle. And I think this is going to be something that's going to be wonderful for leading up to Yule for me to routinely light and relight. That also will do something for my mind, body, and spirit as I actively make a point to light this candle. Now, I won't leave it burning all day because that's not what this is about. It's more lighting and letting it burn for a little bit and then snuffing it out and relighting the next day. To release, part of it is to build a routine, which is good for my mental health going forward. Even though I'm not in that place anymore, it's good as a way to routines are helpful, I'll just say that. So the routine itself will keep me engaged. And I will write this on my to-do for every day on my daily calendar to light this candle and to remember to snuff it out so that there's more candle left to be lit for the next day. So thank you so much for watching. Again, I'm Mika. This is Leap Taken. Please don't forget to hit the like button. It helps. Subscribe if you haven't, and if you'd like to. Share if you feel up to it. And consider going to leaptaken.com to check out the services that I offer. I have a lot of good things coming. I got a little derailed on that because I didn't do anything. So it's being pushed out a little later, but I'm learning. It's okay. Life is life. This is my life and this is how it is, and I'm okay with it. But anyway, I'll have some really cool stuff coming up very shortly on leaptaken.com. So thanks again for watching. I'm Mika. This is Leap Taken. I'm out of here. Bye.